Fire, you're up. Yes, sir. Brad, you give him another ticket, too.
Good morning. Not much going on in the fire department. We're about 90% complete on Fire Station 3. We're really busy with the University Fire Rescue training and getting summer fire school planned. I think the attendance will hopefully be up this year. I think the current registration was up in about 200 to the date, but usually firefighters are slow about registration for summer fire school. Outside of that, we're working with the planning code enforcement on a couple of sites here in town. I know we met last week with the police department and planning and code, legal and administrator, and talked about the abandoned buildings and some issues that we see across the city, and we're working really hard on those. Outside of that, we have 2 new employees that started Monday. 2 rookie firefighters are in school this week and next week, and we're excited about getting those guys on shift. Outside of that, that's it. Any questions? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Gail.
I love that. Good job. Hey, no, give him an extra ticket. Give that whole row. I just wanted to mention the applicant tracking program. I think all of you know that in February we went live with the new online applicant tracking program. It's going fantastic. We're really happy with it. See, Parks and Recreation, Public Works, Planning and Protective Services, I know have all been trained on the program. And I think if you talk to any of them, I think all of them seem to be pretty happy with the program. It's going well. We've had run a lot of our seasonal employees through the program, so that's been good. If any of you want to ever apply for any positions that are out there, you also would go online to apply for the positions, and you can do that just going to the city's website, or you can also go to our Facebook account, and we have a link directly from our Facebook account. So, also wanted to mention the wellness program. For those of you who are participating in the wellness program and you're accumulating points for this session, reminder that this session ends May 29th. That's a Thursday, and that's going to be here before you know it. So if you guys have points that you need to get, I recommend that you start looking at that now to make sure you get enough points. We do have a lunch and learn scheduled for next Thursday, the 24th. It'll be here in this room, I believe, and it's about a gluten-free diet. So that'll be a pretty interesting topic, I think. Let's see. Only other thing I guess to mention is that we're just now in the beginning phases of looking at benefits for next year. We're going to be bidding all of the benefits out again. All of our contracts pretty much have expired on all benefits. So we'll be doing that, including the EAP program. We haven't bid that out for a few years because we had a 3 or 4 year contract on that. So I'm definitely looking for feedback on the EAP program. So if any of you have any comments or anything that you'd like to forward to me, just to let me know. I would certainly appreciate the feedback from you. You're welcome to just give me a call or shoot me an email or stop me if you see me somewhere or stop by. So anyways, hope you guys have a great day and a very wonderful Easter weekend. Thank you.
Who's up? Walk. On deck.
Good morning, everyone. Just want to remind everyone, you Jefferson City residents, about the citywide large bulky items pickup. I see a lot of stuff already getting placed out at the curb, and that's too early, by the way. It starts on Monday, April 28th on the west side of town, and Monday, May 5th on the east side of town. Also, anyone can participate in the household hazardous waste drop-off. Just call our number, 634-6410, and make an appointment to bring your household hazardous waste items. You might have seen some, for those of you who travel on the east side of town, the survey crew's been out on Clark Avenue surveying, and they're surveying so we can put new sidewalks along Clark Avenue. and that'll be funded by the Community Development Block Grant Program. We're kind of excited about that neighborhood improvement. We're also getting ready to close out the Mulberry demolition project. That was a big project that involved a lot of city staff, and so we're excited to get that closed out and get that site turned over to the city as a park, or a open space, I should say. The Capital Area MPO approved a wayfinding plan at their meeting yesterday. Now, what is a wayfinding plan? Wayfinding plan is a coordinated and planned set of signage that will eventually be erected on the highway and in city locations. It'll direct travelers more effectively to get to their destinations. And we hope that a lot of neighborhoods will participate in this planning effort, like the Old Munichburg Association downtown and other neighborhoods, to help increase identity of their neighborhoods and locations. Probably won't see any construction and erection of signs for a couple of years. Planning timeline is kind of a long timeline. In some ways, kind of like herding cats. A lot of people want to have input, so it takes a little while to get all those plans together. But that's kind of an exciting project for our MPO staff. That's who will be heading up that project. On to the development services end, we're continuing to see the trend of a lot of renovations and remodels in our town. We've had 21 renovation plans, additions, renovation and remodel, alterations and additions, and a lot of those are focused on the health and medical industry. Capital Region has been going gangbusters with the addition to their site on Madison Street. They're also getting ready to do a renovation on their Southwest campus and put in an urgent care center on Madison Street. So those are some big projects for that, for Capital Region. We've also had the addition of 4 technology businesses. 3 financial institutions are remodeling or expanding. They're also trying to keep us beautiful in Jefferson City. Ulta Beauty's coming in to the old Petco site out on Missouri Boulevard, and a new nail salon on South Ridge. And we've also got another exciting project from our Cultural Arts Commission. And one of the things they want to do is erect some art in Jefferson City, and I brought this along because they want to erect a banner, mural, on the old Ameren building that's west of the Capitol. So our code requires us to have an administrative hearing that'll be held on Monday, and so if approved, this is the banner that will be erected on the Ameren building for a time, and what they were trying to do is promote art in Jefferson City. The other thing that they're going to be doing is erecting a statuary in the roundabout on Stadium and Hyde Park. So that's another interesting and exciting addition to our city. So that'll be happening this summer. Questions? Thank you.
No, please. I haven't said anything yet. Oh. Am I supposed to use this? Oh, okay. All right. I don't have anything that interesting to say. Hey, I'm done. Y'all have a moment of silence for the conference center, which passed away this past weekend. It'll be back. Don't worry. It is. It's a. I always said. I guess this is aired on internet, so I can't say anything. All right. Other thing I've been working on a lot this past week is the mall TIF. You may have thought it was all done, but it was not. Much of the guts and the nuts and bolts actually have to still be worked on, and so Phyllis and I are still putting together the final touches. So that will come to the council again this meeting, but due to some quirks, I think we're actually going to have to take it back to the TIF commission and bring it back to the council again. So it's not done. It will be done. I think they're going to start construction as soon as the TIF can be activated, which basically you have to turn on the TIF so that when it starts collecting money, it can then be fed out to pay for the construction costs. So that's not done yet, but that'll be happening soon, and I know the farmers have big plans. They're very interested in making that mall something to be proud of. What the heck? Oh, purchasing rules. Been working on purchasing rules with council and staff, and those are going to really, for the first time, to have a real discussion, I think, at tomorrow morning at a special finance meeting. So everyone should come who has interest in purchasing rules. been working with Janice and some council people on the Building Code Commission. I hope you didn't mention that. The issue is sometimes, I'm going to put a positive spin on this and say that sometimes our code isn't quite as updated as technology is, and so that there may be some new feature or some equally safe feature that our code didn't contemplate. So in doing buildings and such, to make sure it's safe, you always have to do certain things. And if there's another new or equally safe concept, these people can come to the commission and say, well, hey, this is just as good as what's in your code. It just, code hadn't caught up with it. Can we use this? And the commission can say yes. There's, other ways to use that board, but we're staying positive on it. No new, I have no idea what that says. Wish I could read my own writing. Okay, sorry. Work comp, dealing with those injuries, quit hurting yourselves, people? No, actually, you're really good. Court, we're looking to hire a new bailiff. I need to talk to Steve about that. An esteemed former PD officer who's become available through retirement in the past 6 months or so may be interested. Well, esteemed may be a little heavy, I don't know. And the Spanish Memorial, y'all know where that is? It's the Spanish American War Memorial. It's by Staples, by the highway. Turns out that the MoDOT wants to give that to us for reasons that baffled me, but anyway, that's going to be ours soon, so Britt's going to be mowing that. And
We appreciate Parks and Rec help.
I'm sure they would cooperate with you in some fashion. Anyway, but in my mind and Janice's mind, maybe we can do a kind of an art parky thing for the arts folks and direct them there. Any questions, any thoughts, comments, random law questions? That would be awesome. Or you can just park your old mowers there and call it art. What the heck? All right, well, thank you all.
Hello, spring has sprung, so our mode has shifted heavily from winter activities, getting ready for everything that's going to be going on this summer. Just to highlight a few things, we're through the month of April, the golf course will be opening at 7:30 a.m. each morning. We're also taking sign-ups for adult and youth golf lessons. Ice Arena is closing to the public for the season tomorrow. I wanted to highlight, you've probably seen the flyers and emails going around about the Skate for Rachel program tomorrow to raise some funds to help her with her medical expenses. So it'll be a wide variety of activities going on throughout the day, and I think we're staying, what's that? I think we're beginning at 11:30 in the morning with a 9 o'clock in the morning with, okay. We have some matinee skates, wide variety of activities. I think it's going to go on until about 2 a.m. in the morning. So if you can't stop by, I think there's an opportunity for you to get some raffle tickets to, I think, some tickets to a Cardinal game or part of what's being given away. So any kind of support you could give us there would certainly be appreciated. Other special events coming up Saturday, the annual JC's Easter egg hunt out at Memorial Park beginning at 11 a.m. We have a community garage sale set for the Ice Arena on May the 3rd from 8 until noon. Our Capital City Horseshoe Club is signing up for leagues right now. They've got tournaments scheduled for April 26th, May 3rd, May 24th. If any of you are interested in participating in that, it's kind of a resurrected program that was dormant for a number of years, but the last few years have been quite a few people participating and having a good time down at Washington Park on a regular basis. Our summer volleyball league sign-ups are underway, both for women's indoor and our outdoor sand leagues and our youth summer program. We have a new Storybooks Trail program beginning on April 28th through May 5th at Memorial Park. I think it's located out along the West Edgewood Greenway right now, and it's tailored for reading levels of kids about age 5 to 8 years old. So it's a good family activity for you to get out and walk and read the storybook. I think that's done in cooperation with Scholastic and some other partners. We're also kicking off the second year of the Walk Jeff City program, which some of you participated in the past. This year's kickoff event will be Saturday, April 26th out at Ellis Porter Park, beginning at 10 a.m. and it's a 6-month-long walking program to help track your fitness and maybe earn some points for your insurance discount as well. Pickleball is a new sport we're beginning to get into. There's a drop-in program on Tuesdays at Scheichel's Gym from 10 to noon and Wednesday evenings from 6 to 8:30. We're looking to expand that program at other times because of the popularity of it. It's a combination of tennis, badminton, and ping pong, I think, and rules generally. So people are having a lot of fun. It's really a growing sport nationwide. We're having our annual Kids Fest downtown on Saturday, May 31st, headquartered in the Madison and High Street area, along with numerous other partners, highlighting youth activities that are available throughout Jefferson City, particularly for the summer months. So that's an event that's usually attended by several thousand people. So if you're interested, or your kids or grandkids, please come on down for that. We also have sign-ups going on for a number of martial arts programs: jiu-jitsu, karate, baton stick, judo. And also right now, I think you've probably seen on our website our Friends of the Park program. If you haven't signed up, it's free. You can go to our website and it leads you to, right now we have a photo contest going on for the next month, and that's an effort to get advance notification out to anybody who's Friends of the Park on special programs and other events. This Saturday, another special event, the Cabela's King Cat Catfish Tournament. That'll be held over at the Noren Ramp beginning at 6:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. I think they're still taking registrations for that. If you're interested, you can fish all the way from the I-70 bridge at Roachport down to Washington on that stretch of river, and I think that'll close about 3:30 with the weigh-in occurring after that over at the Noren Ramp area. So it should be a really interesting event. I think they've got about 75 or better boats already signed up for that from all over the country. As part of that event, too, they're also doing a Crappie USA Kids Fishing Tournament out at Bender Park that morning. Sign-ups are from 8 to 9, and the fishing will be 9 to 11. And one of the unique things about this program is they're also offering an opportunity to sign up for college scholarships that they'll be giving away throughout the season. So if you have somebody who's a fisherman looking to go to college, might be a chance to get up a couple $1,000 scholarship to help with that program. Another event, I heard Pat and Jason talking earlier about the Color Vibe, a big special event downtown Saturday, Color Run. I think right now there are about 3,500 participants signed up for that, so should kind of plug up downtown for a few hours, but kind of a unique event and something new for Jefferson City. Also on Saturday, April 26th, we have the Serve Jeff City program, kind of headed up by Councilman Ken Hussey, but it's about the third or fourth year we've done that. We're 300 to 400 volunteers come out on a Saturday to help with numerous projects throughout the park system and all over town, other areas as well. Senator Mike Keogh's kicking that off, serving pancakes at 8:30 at the Memorial Shelter, and then everybody will disperse about 9 o'clock and head out to project sites all over town. So if you have a few hours to help out, I think the community at large really appreciates all of the volunteer efforts. May 19th, we have Page's Circus. That'll be going on at the Ice Arena. And project-wise, in cooperation with several partners, we've got greenway projects under construction out in Apache Flats, Bender Park area, the Frog Hollow area, and the McKay Park, Our Savior's Lutheran Church area. All of our restrooms and outdoor facilities are now open for the season, and we're getting a busy shelter schedule. Memorial Playground project, the site work has been completed. We hope to begin installation of the equipment in a couple of weeks. We're also beginning the work on getting swimming pools ready to open, and our contractor is in at Memorial Park doing a refurbishment on the water slides there. They're about 20 years old and need a major upgrade. And finally, we're having a ribbon cutting dedication ceremony on Friday, May 19th at 10 o'clock for the new Rolling Hills South Ridge neighborhood park. So if any of you are interested in stopping by for that little ceremony, we'd welcome you to do that. So I think that pretty well covers what we've got going on. So thank you.
I'll go next. So I have the microphone right here. I want to break out of the mold for just a minute, do a little something different, and that is to thank everybody. Last week, talking about this meeting with Captain Clark, he mentioned, you know, we work with all the different city departments all the time, and that's pretty important. And I got to thinking about that, and I thought, yeah, I think so. You know, it's dangerous to speak for Steve and why we all get together in the mornings and talk about different events and things of that nature. But from an umbrella approach throughout the year, I think it's important to note how much we rely on every city department. As a police department, that we don't function independently. We're not on an island. And sometimes I think because we have our own building, maybe the nature of our job, I don't know, we might be seen as maybe something unto ourselves, and that is absolutely not the case. So if you give me just a minute, and I made a list of departments so I wouldn't forget anyone, but we do interact, and I don't know if every department can say that, but I know we can as I went through the list. First, let me say that when we talk to groups, particularly, I try to make the point of telling people we're only as good as the community allows us to be. In other words, if they don't support us in dozens of different ways, then we can't be very good at what we do. And I think the same thing could be said within the city, that if you don't help us, if you don't support us in one of dozens of ways, we can't do our job. And if you talk about human resources, we all know that that touches, when you talk about personnel, whether it's employment or discipline or training or anything of that nature, we need them. Law department, we ask for legal opinions. We have multiple contracts that we become involved in over the course of a year, various legal questions, things of that nature. Finance department, of course, we manage the budget every single day. Purchasing, payroll, Terry, we work with her a lot and need her. We move on to fire, and of course we secure scenes so that they can do their job. Sometimes we work together to investigate a case, very important. IT department, of course, everything is done electronically. We record everything electronically, and I don't know where we'd be without Bill and his people coming over all the time, fixing problems and giving us advice and things of that nature. Planning and protective services, we do a lot of neighborhood problem solving. So Janice and her people, code enforcement, very important to us as we work together and go out and remove junked cars or get the grass cut or made sure that the codes as we close down buildings to make sure they're safe before we allow occupancy and things of that nature. Finally, or maybe not finally, because the Public Works is next, and Matt and his people, of course, when there's bad weather, we work together, communicating and ensuring that the various intersections and streets are cleared. And then, of course, we have engineering. We're working with Britt right now on our HVAC system, which is in pretty bad shape. And through engineering knowledge, we hope to successfully replace that. Finally, I was thinking of Parks and Rec. Well, you just heard, I don't know how many things Bill mentioned, but that's a lot of activity. And of course, where there's activity, there's crowds, and then there's police security and preparation and things of that nature, so we work together in that aspect. The whole point being, when you look at that list of city departments and reflect on that, you say, well, where would we be without all the other city employees? Well, we wouldn't be very far. So just a moment, not to talk about issues or things of that nature, but just to say thank you to everybody and to point those things out. As you do your work within your respective departments, you are in some way, maybe not directly, but you're helping us, and we appreciate that. So that's just a point I want to make. Last month, I guess about 5.5 weeks ago, I brought 4 commanders to talk about various things that were going on in the department. So in the interest of equity, I have two more today, two different ones. Lieutenant Heisland is going to talk about hiring. Why? Because if you read the paper, there's been some publicity about us being 14, 15, 16 people short. That's a lot of people in a department our size. So we are in the process of hiring a lot of people, and maybe not to take the wind out of his sails, I'll let him talk about that. But that's very important. You can't do service without people. We are a people service. And in the process, since we continually recruit, maybe I don't want to actively recruit people from other departments, but you might listen and see if there's interest there. Certainly we have family, friends, neighbors who might be interested in a police job of some sort. So I hope that's interest to you, and you can take that information back and share the word. It's a good profession. It's a rewarding profession. And then Captain Shoemaker's here to talk about a lot of the things we're doing in the electronic world that 5 years ago we never even thought about doing, or maybe we anticipated as one of those future goals. But this relevance is now, and it's going on now, and we're doing a lot of things, and it seems to be mushrooming. So with that, I think Captain Shoemaker wants to begin, so I'll turn it over to him. Thank you.
Thank you, Cletus. Do I just click this thing right? Maybe. Oh, there we go. Okay. The chief had talked to Lieutenant Heisland and I about where we sit with the department and kind of some things that we're doing within the agency and projects. And I know last time we had this meeting, Lieutenant Wilde, Lieutenant Williams, Lieutenant Dampf, and I believe Lauren Maddox, our fiscal affairs technician, talked about some contemporary issues. So we wanted to continue in that vein, really, and talk about some of the things. As you all know, I'm our media contact person, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today, where we've started, maybe where we've progressed, and do it within a few moments so we don't take all day talking about it. And then Lieutenant Heisland is going to talk a lot about recruiting and the importance. So it's a nice segue today for some of the things that we're doing. And as we see up here, some of the things I want to talk about briefly are basically our police relations, our relationship with the media, what we're doing with them, maybe that we weren't doing several years ago, or even maybe a year ago so much. And also talking about social media in particular, which has been a big thing for law enforcement agencies and really any public service agency across the United States. We don't have the luxury of a full-time public information officer, so we kind of do the best we can with the staff we have, and I think we do a pretty good job, or a lot of the time, to do it. And the chief has granted that to us to try and make sure that we work with the media, because as you all know, and we all know in city government, having the media on your side is probably a good thing, because if they're not, we can certainly run into some serious issues. So what we've done in the past, and continue to do now really, is try and foster that relationship to make it even more positive. And a lot of that comes to kind of our core values within an agency, and that's some level of transparency that we think is very important. The number one rule of any PIO is always be honest with the media. Never ever lie to them. So we try and make sure that we get that positive message out as much as possible. It's a unique situation within the agency, because really in police work, a lot of the media stories that you see in the Tribune or 17 or 13 or 8 or whatever you might get your media from, or whomever you might get it from, really a lot of stories might at face value seem negative, crime stories, issues of a shooting, whatever else. But that's not all there is. In fact, there are many opportunities that we have and we've utilized within our department to make positive stories that are publicized throughout the media. And I think that's just as important, if not even more important, than responding appropriately to the negative stories. We routinely get praise, I think, from our local media about how we respond to things within a timely manner to our media outlets. And also we try and push the good things that our people do, because not everybody sees that. So one thing we'll talk about here in just a few moments are some of those good things that we as an agency do to kind of get that buy-in with the public. Social media has become a huge thing for us. Within the last few years we've implemented Facebook, and this year, late last year, we really kind of implemented Twitter. Now I will admit to you that I am no huge fan personally of Facebook or Twitter. I don't use those accounts on a personal note, But they certainly have a great amount of value within a police agency, and that's to get that information out electronically that normally you would just see in print or see at the 5 or 6 o'clock news or maybe hear on whatever radio station you may listen to. But social media for us has become a huge, very popular thing. I know Jason at the fire department uses it quite often, particularly Twitter. But our Facebook page, of course, started off with no likes. When you're a corporate page or a business page, you have likes on your page. I think the city has a Facebook page, and people, quote unquote, like it. And whenever you post something, then that story gets, you see that story and you follow it and so on and so forth. So we're now well over 2,000 likes, which is kind of a good deal. We generally post a lot of things, not only kind of a repeat of our media stories that come out, but also things that are happening, events that may be occurring within the city. We'll post something today about the Color Run, for example. We talked about that a little bit because it's a huge event for our city and it affects some street closures, and we want everybody to have a good, safe time. So also we decided to start a Twitter page, and that's more of a kind of an instant news, short, much more shortened version than any lengthy type of thing that Facebook would do. And I want to show you, I guess, our pages a little bit and talk about those very, very briefly, and show you kind of the value of that. This is what our department Facebook page looks like. I apologize for the size of it there, but again, we're working within a limited space. So we have on the page, we talk about things, recent news stories that we discuss. People can typically comment on those types of things. I will say as a caveat, you do have rules as to what you can put on the Facebook page. There are comments that can be deleted off there if they're potentially negative or spam, etc. So those rules are listed on our Facebook page, and I think the city's Facebook page. And Jason, your page probably has the same type of rules, I would guess, within the fire department. So that's been a great use for us. We've had a lot of people follow that page. People tend to enjoy getting that information. It's kind of a social media world we live in, but the page has certainly added value to people seeing some of the things. And the nice thing is even if we publish a story to the media that they might not pick up on, we can then post that on our Facebook page and still get that story out. And then sometimes that will in turn cause public interest in something that may not have been picked up by the paper or may not have been picked up by the radio stations or whomever else. So there certainly is a lot of value with that page. It takes time to manage, but I think for us it's been very valuable. This is our the main part of the Twitter page, and I will admit Jason is probably much better at this than I am in terms of the Twitter thing itself. We have 230 followers, and every time I go into the chief's office to talk to him about the tweets, I can't hardly, it's a stupid word to me. Hey chief, we tweeted this today. It's just almost, I walk right out with my head down, and it's just, but nonetheless, it does have a lot of value. We have posted some things on there, particularly the difference between Twitter and Facebook for those of you that don't use either or don't use one or the other is that Twitter is a very limited amount of space that you can type information in. It's a very timely issue. People receive these tweets on their phone if they subscribe to you, and it's instant type of information. For example, if we have a major incident where we blocked a road off because of an accident, we can tweet out that this area is closed, please avoid the area, and so on and so forth. The value of Twitter, again, I smile every time I say it, is that people then have other followers themselves. And our friends in the news media, I know Megan Lane at 13 follows us, Evan Millward up at 17 follows us, Jessica Quick at 17, some others follow us, and they in turn have a number of people that follow them. So the value of Twitter for us is not necessarily in the mere 230 people that follow our tweets, is the fact that those groups of people also have followers and they will retweet it. Again, I'm laughing as I say this, but it just sounds funny. But it's basically this this huge Ponzi scheme of things that starts up where we post something and then 2 other people follow us, and then they post something and the other 300 or 1,000 followers post something. So really the information gets out very quickly, and it's very valuable in that regard. So we have found a lot of use to that. This is our the main page itself, just about us and just, again, our 230 followers. And I think, oops, this page is basically the notifications as to who has retweeted us, or if we send out something that it'll tell us every time that somebody retweeted us or put something out on a post or mentioned a post in their own thing. So really for us, it's a win-win situation in getting information out, and I think Jason can probably attest to that as well from the fire department. So it has been valuable. It has certainly changed the landscape of media relations for us, and probably for every public agency, because of the timeliness of things that are now expected from local media. Things have changed within the last, I've been doing this for 10 plus years, I guess, in terms of media relations. And I will say that the deadlines are much more stringent than they used to be, but it's important for us to understand from our perspective what their deadlines are and what our expectations are and their expectations. And one thing I wanted to talk about is the public perception of us, as well as kind of working with the community to get buy-in. And in that vein, I'll segue to Lieutenant Heisland here in just a moment, is that we've worked very hard over the past several years to really go out and reach out into the community and do some things that are maybe not traditional police work. But I think that's what makes us unique, in that we are not a traditional police agency. Since Chief Kemker was here in the late 80s, we started this community policing thing, and it's never really stopped. It's changed and adapted. But we are an agency that does believe in going out and working with the community. We have several members within our agency that serve on area boards. You all know that I spoke before many of you about the United Way thing last year, was very passionate about it, and remain that way. But I think that gives us buy-in, not only as a police department, but as a city. It shows that maybe we're a little different, that we not only really walk the walk, or talk the talk, but we walk the walk in this case. So for us, getting that public buy-in and going out and talking to people and participating actively as citizens, we got Pat McCutcheon, who sits on the Jeff City Daycare Board, for example. Chuck Walker, Collier Nichols sit on the Boys and Girls Club Board. I sit on the Red Cross Board. We've got all kinds of people that go out and do all kinds of things within boards and services within the community, and I think that speaks to a lot of things. Case Stiefer sits on the Big Brothers Big Sisters Board. So again, a lot of public involvement, and I think for us that gives the city that we are actually bought into what we say we're going to do, and I think there's a lot of value in that. So with that, I wanted to segue a little bit to Lieutenant Derek Heisland, who is currently in charge of our Professional Standards Office. But more importantly, and what Derek maybe just did not too long ago, was our Leadership Jeff City program with the Chamber of Commerce. Derek coordinates the local government day for the Chamber of Commerce, which is a day to showcase different aspects of local government. And it's a lot of work, but a lot of people do a lot in terms of selling, if you will, and I use that word a lot to new recruits, so that we sell our services. It's not a physical product, but it's a representation of who we are as an agency. And Derek's going to talk about a little bit about the value of that today. So with that, I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Heisland. Use the wheel. But don't try and click this. I did that for like a minute. I won't. I'm not going to touch it. All right.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Derek Heisland. The chief kind of wanted me to give an overview of the office that I'm currently assigned to, which is the Office of Professional Standards, and how it relates to the city as a whole and what we do. Basically, I'm a one-man show. I work directly for the Chief of Police. It's a section or a position, I guess, that was developed in 1999. We didn't have it prior to Chief Schrader coming, and it basically umbrellas all the crucial aspects of anything that we have in dealing with complaints, to recruitment, to hiring, or anything that has to do with anything with the police department is kind of umbrellaed in the Professional Standards Office. According to our policy and the way it reads, the different stipulations are for us to, I need to talk into the microphone, I'm getting waved at, is to protect the public, protect the department, protect the employee, get rid of unfit personnel with the help of the law department, Jeremy, the hatchet man, Jeremy, and to correct anything that may be wrong. Really, a lot of it is, we're only as, like the chief had said and as Captain Shoemaker said, we're only as good as the people that work for us. And so in our hiring process, which takes about 3 or 4 months, it's imperative that we get a good person in those positions, because it's been said that if you hire the wrong person, it takes more effort and more time to get rid of them once they're hired than actually doing a good, comprehensive selection process and not hiring the person in the first place. And it rids you of a lot of issues, whether it's complaints or lawsuits or anything like that. So we want to make sure that we get the right people in those positions. And with that, it takes a collective effort from every different department around. I know I've asked the law department several questions regarding the hiring, HR deals with us quite a bit. I'm always on the phone with Sarah, asking her questions. But most of what we do is because most of the reason why we're successful is because of the collective effort of not only just the city employees, but the citizens too. Really, I mean, if you think about it in the big picture, and the chief points this out a lot, is a law enforcement officer, if you look at it globally, we have more power than anyone else, more power than the president, because we can take away people's constitutional rights by taking them under arrest, and the president can't do that. And so it's a big burden, I guess, in some respects, but it's a pretty heavy thing to hang over your head. So we want to make sure we have the right people in the right places within the department. Our selection process, as I mentioned, takes about 3 or 4 months to complete. We did a test January the 12th, and we had people yesterday taking the physical assessment to be hired. And so it's a long process, but in that process you have many layers of the onion that you have to peel back before you really find out the true person and who we're hiring. I'd be remiss if I didn't also say something about our police personnel board that's appointed by the council, and they're very, very helpful with us. I have been in the office for 5 years now, but in the years that I've been there and talking with Captain Clark and Captain Shoemaker, who had this position prior to me, I think our board is more active now than they were in several years past, and that's good because they help us out quite a bit, and they give us an idea of what they proctor the process. They make sure that there's no discrepancies. They can actually revamp the process, which we've had to do with the acquisition of animal control, because we had a set way that we did things when it was only communications and police that were our major hiring processes. Really with it, and I don't know if I'm kind of wrapping everything up here, the police department, once we hire a person, if they have the academy complete and they've done they have their license, they go through a 16-week field training program with us. If they don't, they have to complete a 600-hour training academy prior to the 16-week. So it could be up to a year, and that's where it's fortunate for us that have the ability now to fill some of the positions that have been left vacant through just, I guess, attrition and stuff, plus through the retirements that happened last year. And so in getting us back, I think the chief had mentioned several times that we're finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel through the department, so that we're getting the right people into the right positions around. So does anybody have any questions or issues? Thank you.
I'm the tail end here, but that's, oh, well, of course. He's always the tail end, really. But anyway, wait a minute, that came out wrong, didn't it? That's all right. He's used to me. But anyway, Public Works, we have, it's kind of our busy time of year of getting projects out, things of that nature. But obviously we have 4 division in Public Works, and most of those do routine items as well as, projects. So I'm just going to hit on each one briefly, and you have to answer any questions. But parking, they're busy times right now. I know they have the session is in, this legislative session's until about May 16th, I believe, is the last date they talk about. So that's why the downtown's so busy and a lot of traffic downtown. So that filters back to our parking division, keeping the garage managed in our lots and our parking. You might have heard on the council agenda, we have some parking scooters we're trying to replace for those folks. That's a little bit controversial. We have met with some of the councilmen who had some issues with it, and I think everything's worked out there, so hopefully we'll move forward at the next meeting with that. On our transit side, Glenn is here. I don't know if we have any other transit folks, but they do a lot of their routine is driving the buses around in the circle and keeping the handy wheels running. But the couple little things we're working with IT on, getting getting some Wi-Fi set up for their transfer station so that if you're waiting on the bus, much like here in City Hall, or I think over the police station, you can get on public Wi-Fi so that the folks in those facilities can utilize that while they're waiting on the bus. The other thing that's going on with transit, they're getting ready to have an open house over at Lincoln. I believe it's not this Friday, but the next. Little 2-hour event where they're going to park a bus and invite the Lincoln students to tour the buses and look at the schedules and try to get some better ridership that way. On wastewater side, not a real sexy topic. Sometimes when I start talking about wastewater, some of the councilmen leave the room even and go to the bathroom or something, I don't know. But anyway, they do have a lot of things going on, though. They're important. They're important to us all, even though we may not talk about them a lot. But Coal Junction Pump Station is a very big project in the city, and it's wrapping up here very shortly. We'll be probably having an open house ribbon cutting type thing, invite people to tour a lift station, get some punch and cookies, I guess, or something there. That sounds delicious, doesn't it? So, but it's a big project, $11 million. I mean, it's a big deal for the city. So. Of course, they have some other things going on as well. They're, very project orientated as well, keeping up with regulations, those kind of things. But we have a new lift station going on the south end of town off Route B, and then we have some additional disinfection going on in our Algoa system, or our lagoon system, that mainly serves, I'll say, the prison area out there. That's getting ready to wrap up as well. Then on the council agenda, you'll notice they have $10 million of bonds getting ready to be issued. Those projects will basically help us with our compliance, EPA compliance, but I'll characterize them in kind of the Lincoln towards Ellis area and over by Bel Air School. So if you live in those neighborhoods, you'll start seeing some activity over there. Streets, they obviously do a lot of routine maintenance for us, and their busy season start as well, whether it's mowing or patching potholes and things of that nature. But they also manage our overlay project, and so that's a big project that affects a lot of the neighborhoods and traffic, and various people are involved with that as well. But the overlay is out to bid and will be underway shortly. On the airport side, obviously, besides their routine maintenance, they have one of their big projects out that's going to be a $7-8 million project. I think is that right, Britt, on the last estimate? It's out to bid right now, so we'll know that number shortly. That's a very large project over at the airport. That's 95% funded through the FAA. So and our match comes out of sales tax on that. But that'll basically reconstruct the main runway. So there'll be some inconvenience to the people who base their planes there or fly into there. So that's going to come up this summer. Then on the engineering side, obviously very project driven. I think it was already mentioned about the police HVAC project. We shifted that over into engineering, and David's going to start handling that now, and it's already out to look for a consultant to evaluate the various reports we've collected on that system and try to move that forward and get a more detailed set of what we need to do there, and so we can locate the money then in the future and actually construct that. Several projects are out to bid right now. Several of them will be on the council agenda this next meeting or two. They include the Water Street project, which is basically reconstructing the street in front of the Amtrak station. It'll be a brick pavered street. Right now it's got bricks on it and some chunks of concrete, but not very attractive for people coming into the city. So that's another grant-funded project. The Dunklin and Lafayette Street project, it's a new intersection there, Dunklin and Lafayette by the Lincoln University. It'll have a new signal. That's being done in ahead of the Lafayette interchange, which will bid later this fall. On the Lafayette interchange, you may be aware that project's coming out this fall, but it'll go through the winter, obviously, in next construction season. There's even meetings on it yet today talking about traffic flows and all those kind of things. So that's multi-jurisdictional problem, mainly in the city. I know Britt's, I think, attending for us today, but we may have to modify our routes in some other areas of the city, say McCarty Street or Dunklin or something of that nature. There's also some talk you may hear about what about the look of this new interchange? And there's also 2 other bridges associated with that interchange. And so the county has put some money in to provide enhancements, enhanced lighting, walls, those kind of things. And some brick pillars are being talked about on the ends of these to kind of make that a lot nicer looking. The city's been asked to look at that as well, and so we're still in discussion about that. But that project going to be a big project, and it will take its toll on traffic. We, hopefully after it gets underway, I think it will settle down. The traffic will settle in. A lot of people are local users. They're going to figure out whether they want to take McCarty Street in if you live on the east end, or if you're trying to travel through, you may try to bypass and go on Ellis Boulevard. Various routes. There'll be a lot of signing, but most of those probably will be on city streets, or probably all of them, I guess. Another little project that's coming up that we anticipate going yet this year is the railroad has contacted us and actually want to replace the rail crossings on West McCarty with a new concrete system. Right now it's very rough. I get a lot of complaints about it often, and so hopefully that'll come together yet pretty quickly here this summer. We have our big Frog Hollow Road project with the county's ongoing. If you haven't driven out that way, it's on the End of Creek Trail. You can see it, or just drive out Frog Hollow and you can get a good view of it. But a lot of earth moving going on right now. And that's kind of really an overview of what we have going on in Public Works. Any questions? Thanks.
I have no rebuttal to what Matt said, so I do, but not for in here. Just a couple of things from the finance and IT perspective. In the finance department, we're finishing up the CAFR. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. And we submit that to the GFOA. We've gotten an award, I believe, for the past 14 years now, so we'll be submitting that for the 15th year. And what that tells us from the award standpoint is that we are tracking into our financial statements, following through our audit like we're supposed to, all of those types of things. So we're pretty excited about doing that and getting the audit over with. It's a lot of work for Sheila and Kara and other folks in the finance department. So hopefully by April 30th, we'll have it all done, turned in, and be well on our way past that. Moving on to the budget. I'm sure as most of you heard, it's budget season. Department directors have been working on their budgets. Hopefully, I'm sure some of you have been involved, talked to your department directors, they've asked you questions, those types of things. So we are in the midst of budget season. By the end of April here, the department directors, April 23rd to be exact, or to turn in their budgets to the finance department so we can construct a budget book to give to the city administrator. And for the month of May and part of June, he will be working with department directors and having lots of discussions for us to come up with a balanced staff budget there, so that we can the city administrator can then take to the mayor, and he'll work with the mayor to construct the mayor's version of the budget, in which time at the end of July we will give to the council. So it'll be a fun time of working on the budget. It'll be interesting as usual. I mean, if anybody has any great revenue ideas, we're always open to those. That's something we need to improve upon. We in the budget, to balance the budget, you either have expense problem or revenue problem. I think right now we're more on the revenue side of problems, not the expense side of problems. If we could up our revenues, things would be a lot better. So those are some of the things that are going on in finance. On the IT side of things, you'll be hearing or seeing emails. You've probably seen a few already, but we're going to be upgrading Springbrook, which has an effect on a lot of folks. Obviously, that's our financial system, our payroll system, our HR system, community development. We call it the community development system, but folks do permitting and planning, different things like that. There's a lot of folks who utilize that system, but so for the week of April 28th, it's going to be we're going to be trying to get a lot of things wrapped up in that system and not have folks using it as much that week, because on May the 2nd at 5 o'clock we are going to begin the upgrade over the weekend. So May the 2nd is on a Friday, so that whole weekend it'll be offline and not available for folks to use. So there's going to be a few meetings that are going to happen to set that all up and different things. So appreciate everybody working with us to get ready for that big upgrade there. Last time we reported that we're working on the website. We're still on pace to get that done by the end
end of July. One of the things that we're going to be working on is getting some public involvement on that. So we're going to put a link on our website to have people sign up to give us feedback, and we've come up with a tool, and I can't give you the exact name of the tool right now. Lisa probably could give it to you better than I can, but we're going to ask these folks. There's a tool that you can utilize to get feedback from folks on what's important to them. So some of you might even want to sign up. The link's not out there yet, but in the next couple of weeks, the link will be out there. And what it's going to do is help us organize how we want the website to flow and what folks want to see, those types of things. So we think it's going to be very helpful to us in making a website that the public finds useful and helpful. The other thing that's most of you will have seen, or several of you would have, is we've rolled out about 40 PCs so far in the last about 6 weeks. We've rolled out about 40 new machines all over. I should say Cletus and Sierra have rolled out 40 new machines. I haven't done any of that. But the IT department has rolled out 40 new machines, and then we're also going to be rolling out another 29 MDTs in the police cars. So the police department received a grant to get about, I think, half of those, half of the new MDTs from a grant. So then they also purchased the other half. So most of the police cars will have all new MDTs in it. So there's going to be about 29 new MDTs that will be rolled out during that time frame. So that is all I have for finance and IT today. Do you guys have any questions? Great. Oh, Steve has a question. Oh, for Sam's. Yeah, I should probably have reported on that. One of the things that I learned recently is that Sam's most likely is not going to open up until the summer of 2015. So that's kind of when the lookout is for that, is the plan there. But whenever Sam's does open, it will have some revenue impact. There's always been different discussions of what that amount would be, but we've talked to Sam's and kind of have a rough idea of what they think they're going to get for sellable receipts and different things. And we predict that Sam's will be somewhere in the $125,000 to $150,000 range is what it will generate for new revenue for the city. So it gives you an idea. It's probably something we get to look forward to in 2016. Probably not something we're going to get to be that excited about in 2015, since the store won't open until the summer sometime of 2015. So along with that, there's going to be a couple roads and the roundabout. So for those of you who like to go from Menards to Kohl's or things like that, summer of 2015, you'll be able to do the little roundabout thing. You won't have to go all the way around Missouri Boulevard to make that turn. So my wife likes that idea. You know, I'm not so sure, because it just means she'll spend more money, those kind of things. So, but good for sales tax, I guess. Any other questions? Great question. You guys are easy. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So really no updates from me. A lot of my time has been spent still getting introduced to individuals, and now spending a little bit more time getting into some of the operational aspects. So and just helping departments do all the stuff they just reported on. So with that, are there any questions, comments, other than this row over here? Yes. Here, let's get, do we have 2 mics by any chance?
We talked about the cooperation level. We forgot one person with Sean Stumpy down at Central Maintenance. Without those guys, our cars, I wanted to make sure that, I know they're watching right now on the internet, so I want to make sure they knew.
Great.
Thanks.
So they can bring all the cars back that they were moving while you were... What else? What other questions, comments, suggestions, complaints, observations? Things to make, things to break.
I had Central Maintenance in my notes.
I know you did. I saw it over there.
And in my haste, because I knew we were going to run long on time, I overlooked that, but I thank Captain Clark for making me look bad. I appreciate that.
And that's a discussion about we're going to have with departments, and there'll be a lot of involvement about that, about what your particular department does to help other departments, so we're not in these little silos. So that was a very good discussion that you provided there. Other suggestions, comments, questions, updates? I said not that row. There's always a troublemaker, and they're all in that row. Go ahead.
Are you a baseball fan?
No.
Really?
Really.
Football fan?
Yes.
What team?
See, Missouri. Kansas City.
Are you a hockey fan?
Trick question.
Never mind.
Other serious questions, comments, complaints? No? Are you giving away football tickets? Is that what you're? No, we're just Cardinals fans. Ah. Yeah, there we go.
In the past, the city administrator group has, let us wear Cardinal gear and stuff during the playoffs, World Series, stuff like that. We were just hoping that was going to continue. But since you're not a baseball fan, we don't know.
I don't care what you wear. Well, Jews warned me about you. Maybe I shouldn't say it. Within reasons and guidelines. All right. What else? Anything else? Any other announcements, anything? You mentioned the skate. We got all that. Do you have that on the website? Do we have an employee? I don't even know if we have. Do we have an internet, employee internet? Sort of. We will. It'll be better. Got it.
Real quick, I made to mention the next Saturday, the 26th at Hyde Park, I believe the police department, the fire department, the sheriff's department, and the Optimist Club are having our bike safety day at Hyde Park.
Oh, good.
That runs from, I believe, 9 till noon.
Great. Good. That's it? All right. Let Cletus do it since he is. Cletus.
You draw your own number. Did everybody get the chance to put in? Uh-oh.
Clint Bishop.
We'll do another one since there was so much excitement on that one. Man.
Cletus Webb.
Andy?
All right. All right, thank you. Thanks.